Welcome to my YouTube channel Heart of Guidance. The concept of justice in Islam is multifaceted, deep, and rooted in the divine guidance provided by the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad PBUH. Justice, or adl, in Arabic, is a core value in Islamic theology, law, and ethics. It is not only a social and legal principle but also a spiritual ideal, requiring fairness, integrity, and the recognition of human dignity in all aspects of life. The Quran, the Hadith, sayings and actions of Prophet Muhammad, and the scholarly interpretations of Islamic law have provided a comprehensive framework for understanding justice as both a divine mandate and a human responsibility. Justice in the Quran. In the Quran, justice is considered one of the essential attributes of God. The word, adl, appears in various forms to describe the absolute fairness and equity with which God governs the universe. God's justice is perfect, and His decrees are always fair, regardless of human perception or circumstances. The Quran repeatedly emphasizes that God does not wrong anyone, and all human beings will be treated justly on the Day of Judgment. One of the most notable Quranic verses on justice is found in Surah An-Nisa 4:58, where Allah commands believers to render justice and fulfill the rights of others. Indeed, Allah commands you to render trusts to whom they are due, and when you judge between people to judge with justice. Excellent is that which Allah instructs you. Indeed, Allah is ever hearing and seeing. This verse highlights the importance of trust and impartiality, urging Muslims to adhere to justice in all their dealings, both in private and public matters. The Quran also emphasizes that no one should be wronged or oppressed, and the oppressed are entitled to justice, as seen in Surah Al-Baqarah 2:286. Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. The idea that each person is given a fair opportunity and is not subject to excessive hardship is central to Islamic justice. Justice in Islamic law, Sharia. Islamic law, or Sharia, is a legal system derived from the Quran, the Hadith, and the consensus ijma of Islamic scholars. Sharia provides a framework for justice, governing not only personal morality and rituals but also broader social, political, and economic matters. It seeks to establish justice by promoting equity and fairness, ensuring that rights are respected, and that individuals are held accountable for their actions. One of the key principles of justice in Sharia is the concept of haq rights. Every person has certain inalienable rights, including the right to life, property, honor, and religious freedom. These rights are protected under Islamic law, and any violation of these rights is considered an injustice. The punishment for injustice, especially oppression or transgression, is a serious matter in Islam and can lead to severe consequences in this world and the hereafter. Another fundamental aspect of justice in Islamic law is the concept of equality before the law. Regardless of one's social status, race, gender, or wealth, every person is considered equal in the eyes of God and should be treated impartially. This principle is evident in the Quran, where Allah commands that justice should be administered without favoritism. For instance, in Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:8, Allah instructs, "O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives." This verse underlines the importance of standing for justice, even when it may be difficult or contrary to one's personal interests or the interests of loved ones. The pursuit of justice in Islam is not based on personal biases or the pursuit of power, but rather on the fulfillment of divine commands. Social justice in Islam. Islamic justice is not only concerned with the protection of individual rights but also with promoting social equity and the welfare of the community. The Quran and the Hadith emphasize the importance of supporting the poor, the oppressed, and those who are marginalized in society. One of the ways this is achieved is through the institution of zakat, charity, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Zakat requires Muslims to give a portion of their wealth to those in need, ensuring that wealth does not become concentrated in the hands of a few individuals or families. This system of social welfare aims to reduce poverty and prevent the exploitation of the vulnerable in society. The concept of adl also extends to the treatment of workers, the protection of the environment, and the pursuit of justice in economic transactions. Islam strictly prohibits exploitation, fraud, and unfair practices in business. The Quran forbids usury, riba, which is seen as an unjust way of accumulating wealth by exploiting the poor. Instead, Islam encourages ethical trade, honesty in transactions, and the fair distribution of wealth. This ensures that economic activity is conducted in a way that benefits society as a whole, rather than enriching only a few individuals at the expense of others. Furthermore, justice in Islam emphasizes the importance of peaceful coexistence, tolerance, and respect for diversity. Islamic teachings advocate for the protection of the rights of non-Muslims living in Muslim-majority societies, ensuring that they are treated with fairness and dignity. The famous example of the Medina Charter, established by Prophet Muhammad PBUH, demonstrates how Islamic governance sought to protect the rights of all citizens, including Jews and Christians, within the framework of justice. The role of the judge in Islam. In the Islamic judicial system, judges qadis play a critical role in upholding justice. The role of the judge is to ensure that the law is applied fairly, impartially, and in accordance with Islamic principles. The judge is expected to be knowledgeable in the Quran and Hadith, as well as in the Islamic legal tradition, in order to make just rulings. Judges are required to be impartial and to refrain from personal biases. They are also advised to seek the truth in every case and to be mindful of their responsibility before God. In fact, the Prophet Muhammad PBUH warned against the weighty responsibility of being a judge, saying, "The best of your judges are those whom you love, and they love you, and who are merciful to you, and you are merciful to them." This hadith emphasizes the need for compassion, fairness, and empathy in the administration of justice. It also suggests that justice is not simply a mechanical application of the law, but rather a holistic process that involves understanding, care, and the striving for what is best for society. Justice and mercy, a balancing act. In Islam, justice is always tempered by mercy. The Quran teaches that while God is just, He is also infinitely merciful and forgiving. This principle is particularly important when it comes to criminal justice. In some cases, the Quran encourages forgiveness and reconciliation over punishment, especially when the offender repents and seeks forgiveness from God. The famous verse in Surah Az-Zumar 39:53 states, "Say, O my servants who have harmed yourselves by your own hands, do not despair of Allah's mercy. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. Indeed, He is the forgiving, the merciful." This verse reflects the balance between justice and mercy in Islamic teachings. While justice is important, mercy allows for the possibility of redemption and rehabilitation. This is particularly significant in cases of personal conflict, where forgiveness and reconciliation can help to restore justice without perpetuating further harm or division. Justice and the afterlife. In Islam, the ultimate judgment belongs to God alone. On the Day of Judgment, every individual will be held accountable for their actions. This is the final and most important manifestation of divine justice. No one will be wronged in the slightest, and everyone will receive what they deserve based on their intentions and deeds. This belief in the hereafter reinforces the importance of justice in the Islamic worldview, as it serves as a reminder that ultimate justice will be meted out in the next life, regardless of any injustices experienced in this world. The Quran emphasizes this in several places, including Surah Al-Zalzala 99:7-8. "So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it, and whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it." This verse indicates that nothing is overlooked in God's judgment, and every action, no matter how small, will be weighed and rewarded or punished accordingly. This belief encourages Muslims to live with integrity and to uphold justice in their daily lives, knowing that they will ultimately be accountable to God. Conclusion. The concept of justice in Islam is comprehensive, encompassing divine justice, legal justice, social justice, and personal morality. It is a key tenet of the faith and is central to the practice of Islam in both personal and social contexts. Islamic justice is not merely about enforcing laws or punishing wrongdoers, it is about ensuring fairness, protecting human dignity, promoting equity, and balancing justice with mercy. Whether in the treatment of others, in economic transactions, or in the pursuit of social welfare, justice in Islam is meant to reflect God's ultimate fairness and to create a harmonious and just society. For Muslims, justice is not only a legal obligation but also a spiritual duty, and its pursuit is essential for attaining both worldly peace and eternal salvation.